On today's episode, I have got 15 homemade Christmas ornaments that have a farmhouse neutral feel to it. All right, friends, now let's get crafting. For this DIY, we are going to take this snake, some of this ribbon, some more golden berries and frosted fern, and we are going to start by cutting off the tail and the head of the snake. Now I figured out that these come together in a perfect circle, except for at that very end you need a little bit of something to help bring that last little bit, because there is a part that just doesn't want to quite connect. So I have this tiny little end of a popsicle stick, and I just use that down in there to nestle it in to make sure it has a nice complete form of a circle. But look at how cool it looks when you bring it around in a circle. It makes the cutest wreath. Now I made a hang up wreath, larger modern garland. I'm going to link that at the end of this video so you can see it, and down below in the description box. But I thought it would be so cute just all on its own to be able to create an ornament with it. Why not? So after I got that snake all settled, I put some ribbon around it to make sure it was nice and held in place. If it ever falls, it doesn't break. And then I added some twine and a bow to make sure that it was looking so cute to add to our Christmas tree. And then this is the part that's fun. You can paint these, you can add whatever berries or greenery you want to it. I went with the frosted fern again just because I love this frosted fern. And then I just glued everything down into place, added a couple golden berries up at the top, and then I was ready to display it on my Christmas tree for this Christmas season. For this next DIY, it is super simple. We are going to take these golden bells that would normally not make the cut on my Christmas tree just because it's not my style. But I thought, you know what? These could be so pretty if we took them and spray painted them a more neutral looking color. So I did that. I sprayed all 4 of them, and then I'm going to take some twine and I'm just going to do a simple loop knot down at the bottom, and then I'm going to take that extra piece here and I'm just going to cut it off so it has a nice knot. I added a little bit of hot glue on those pieces so they don't come untied over time, and I made sure that the twine pieces were long enough because we're going to do a loop knot up at the top. So I'm going and making sure that each bell is hanging in the right place. I'm just positioning them and pulling them down as I need to. And then once I've got all 4 of them to where I like them to be, I'm going to go ahead and bring it up to the top, and I'm going to just loop it around my finger, tie a knot, and then I wanted to clean it up, so I actually took another piece of twine and just kind of looped it around and glued it all into place so it looks really pretty when you hang it up on your tree. Now we can leave it here, or we could take it a step further, which is what I always like to do. I like to just keep playing with it until I get it to where I like it. I'm going to take some white paint and I'm just going to lightly, very lightly dry brush all over the bells to bring out that detail that was originally on them. For this craft, we're going to be using 3 of these jumbo sticks from Walmart, and then 2 regular sized tongue depressor sticks from the Dollar Tree. And then I'm going to take my ruler, line up the 3 jumbo sticks, and simply draw 2 lines up at the top and down at the bottom. And then once I've got that, I'm going to go ahead and take an old pair of scissors and cut away at those lines. Remember, don't use your good scissors on these types of popsicle sticks. It will trash them. I have an old set, which is my buffalo check over here to the side, that I love to use, and I just cut away with those all the time, and that way I can protect my good paper scissors or my fabric scissors. So once you've got everything cut, you can see here that I cut the tongue depressor sticks down to size, and that's going to go right on those 3 jumbo sticks. Glue it all into place, and then you're also going to add 1 up at the top. Now I love doing farmhouse decor here on my channel just because it's my style. I like it. I think it's pretty. I know for some people it's kind of not as trendy anymore. It's kind of on its way out the door, but I still really love it. So here I am, I'm gonna just take this piece and I'm gonna stain it because this is gonna become a cute, almost like a barnhouse shutter. We're gonna say that this is a shutter versus a door. And once it's all done, I added those extra support popsicle sticks to the back, and now I'm just adding some white to make it look snowy and just really pretty. Now I'm going to take this frosted fern and I'm going to bring them around in a circle. These are the tips on the frosted fern that you can pick up from the Dollar Tree. I love this. I wish I could have bought an entire box of this particular one because this was my favorite new thing they came out with this Christmas season to work with. And then I added a bow. And at this point, it is turning into the cutest Christmas ornament to put on your tree. Now I'm going to come back in with some of these rub-ons from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to cut out the letters home to be able to spell that out, H-O-M-E. And then I'm just going to rub those on and just have so much fun. You can customize these however you want, and the fun thing about them is that they can be painted in different colors. I know that we all like different size ornaments on our tree, and I really love these because these are so substantial on our tree if you hang these up on them, and you could even put people's names on them. How cute could that be? So now I'm just using my Crop-A-Dile, one of my favorite tools. I punched some holes so that I can bring in some twine on the back side. I brought it around to the front. Here I am picking off hot glue off my table. I'm always doing that because, you know, hot glue gets everywhere when we're working with it. And then on the front side, I tied a simple knot, brought it down, cut off that extra, and then I added some glue to keep it in place. And then after that, you're ready to hang it up. And how cute is this on your Christmas tree? For this DIY, we're going to be using 3 of these wood rounds, and this is kind of a 3-for-1 on this project. You honestly could make as many of these as you want. I picked up this box of wood rounds from Artesia. I'm going to link it down below in my description box if you're looking for some of these. But what I did was I started with painting white circles in the middle of each one, and then once they were dry, I went ahead and came in with my pencil and I just sketched on 3 different words as well as a little green vine on each of them. I like to do this first with my pencil instead of just going at it with paint because it is so easy to make a mistake and then have to start over. It's so frustrating. So I always like to go in with my pencil first. I always keep one in my craft room for measuring or whatever, or handwriting. And then I'm just now going to come in with my black paint and I'm going to take my time. This is obviously sped up for TV, but I like to take my time when I'm painting these. And then I'm going to come back in with my green and simply paint on a vine, and I've got a beautiful set of 3 ornaments. And to finish it off, I added some twine and a cute bow up at the top to hang up on my tree. For this craft, we're going to be using this nautical rope and this ornament from the Dollar Tree. Go ahead and start by cutting off the tag and then cutting off the tip of the rope. We actually are going to be untwisting it, and we're going to need enough to be able to do the project we're working on. So go ahead and make sure you have a nice long strand of it unwrapped. You don't have to do the entire rope. You're going to need just enough to be able to wrap around this ornament, and you'll see as I'm going, it'll help you be able to gauge how much you're going to need. So once you've got it untwisted enough, go ahead and cut it off. And then this is where this ornament is going to start transforming into something so beautiful, so farmhouse, almost a modern farmhouse or a boho farmhouse. We're going to go ahead and take the rope and we are going to glue on the rope down the ornament. Now you can see that I've gone the one direction going around and then the other direction going around, and then we're going to have these 4 long strands down at the bottom. Don't cut them off yet because I'll show you how much you're going to need. Then we're going to go into the middle spots and we're going to fill that in with more rope. So we're going to make sure that going all the way around the rope, you're going to have 8 coming down the sides of the ornaments. Now for those extra 4 that we added, go ahead and cut those off down at the very bottom, add some glue and smooth them out. Then come up to the top and we're going to clean it up. Now I'm going to take another strand of the untwisted rope and we're going to go ahead and just coil that up around the top of the ornament's lid so that way it looks really pretty and really polished, and it all goes together looking really cohesive. Just make sure as you're gluing it to keep tapping the rope really snugly up next to each other. You don't want to see the metal popping through, because then it's going to make it look like it's homemade versus store-bought. Then when you get to the top, go ahead and cut off the extra, and then you're going to just take that and coil that underneath that loop where you're going to be able to hang it up with the hook later. Tuck it all in there nice and tight, add some hot glue, and make sure it's nice and finished. Then down at the bottom, we're going to take some more of that rope and those 4 strands that we have that were longer, and we're going to wrap some rope around the bottom 4 strands, just like how we did up at the top. And then once you've got that all glued in place, go ahead and start fraying those 4 ropes that we had that we kept that were longer. Now I realized as I was doing this that a brush would probably be the best option, so I ran and I grabbed my daughter's brush and I just brushed it all out and then cut off the excess, and it's ready to be displayed. DIY. I'm going to be taking a large ornament from the Dollar Tree and some canvas type fabric, and then I'm going to be using my rotary blade, and I'm going to cut out a whole bunch of strips. Now once I've got those all cut out, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take 2 pieces of that, and I'm going to hot glue that down at the bottom, because we don't want to see the very bottom of the ornament, and you're going to see why in just a second. So once I've glued those pieces on, I'm now going to take a line of hot glue, a bead of hot glue. Well, I would say a line, not a bead, because that would be like a little dot. Maybe, I don't know. What would be the right word for that? Leave it down below, friends. You're always so good to me by helping correct anything I say weird here on my channel. I'm so sorry. Okay, so I'm going to do that line of hot glue, and then you can see as I'm scrunching it along the hot glue to create a pleated effect. Then I wanted to make sure that the bottom looks nice and finished and polished, so I'm going to go underneath it and just put a little bit of hot glue around that circle, and then I'm going to take my popsicle stick or whatever you have just to press it down into place. Then we're going to keep working our way up the side of the ornament. We are going to continue to do that line of hot glue, and then we're going to pleat on the next row, and you're just going to keep doing this over and over until we get all the way up to the very top. Now I've learned that you didn't have to go pulling it back and forth, back and forth. You just do the line of glue and just kind of keep scrunching it and pushing it over and sliding it through the hot glue, and it'll allow it to just stick beautifully to the ornament, and it has a nice pleated effect naturally without having to sit there pleating it back and forth. Then when you get to the top and you're on the last one, you're going to come all the way up to the top of the ornament, and you're just going to continue to do the same thing, working in that tighter quarters. And then to really finish off the look, I went ahead and took a rope from the Dollar Tree, untwisted it because there's 3 inside of that thick rope, and then I'm going to go ahead and just coil that and wrap that all around the whole top of the ornament. This ornament is so high-end boutique looking for that farmhouse look. It's incredible how much they charge for these, and this truly was like $1.50 to make. Could you imagine a whole bunch of these? Oh, they could be so beautiful for Christmas. Then simply add your little twist knot up at the top to hang it up. For this DIY, we're going to be using some raffia. This is a leftover grass skirt from the summertime, a clear ornament, a wooden bead, and some felt. I took a circular cup that would fit in a nice size on the ornament, and then I just traced around it with a marker, and then cautiously I'm taking my craft knife and I'm cutting it out right where that line was. Now you can see here that it is now open, so I can put something inside of it. Now I'm going to add in some hot glue. Don't add in too much because it does melt the ornament if it's too hot, so you don't want it to have any issues, but enough that you can add in your raffia. And then I'm going to take the end of a pick from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to put that right on the wooden bead and glue it into place, so that way it really secures into the fabric and it won't just pop off over time, especially if little children are picking it up and playing with it. And then I'm taking a rectangle shaped piece of fabric, and I'm going to just keep playing with it until I get it swaddled to look like baby Jesus. Now this is such a sweet, fun DIY to try. It really costs hardly anything, and once you nestle your baby Jesus down inside the bundle of hay, it is just so sweet and darling to add to your Christmas tree. So go ahead and add that in cautiously so you don't burn your finger. And then up at the top of the ornament, I'm going to add a really pretty lace ribbon from the Dollar Tree. And I'm simply going to just fold it in half, loop it through the hole, come back through that little opening of the ribbon, pull it nice and snug, and then up at the top, I like to have a nice clean finish up at the top. Then instead of just using those metal hooks, I'm going to just connect those two ribbons up at the top, laying them flat on each other. And then to finish off the look, I'm going to just make a simple bow out of the ribbon lace to match. And then I'm just going to glue that right into place, and it's ready to hang up on your Christmas tree. For this craft, we're going to be upcycling this cardboard box, and we're going to be using this nautical rope from the Dollar Tree. Now, I took my circle template plate and I did one larger circle and one smaller circle lined up with each other, because we're going to take that and cut it out. So you cut out the outer circle first and then the inner circle, and we are going to be using this to help bring some structure to the rope, because we're going to be making the cutest wreath ornament. And one of the things I discovered as I was working with the rope and the cardboard, wanting to conceal it so you didn't see it, but it gave it the structure, I was twisting the rope a little bit, like untwisting it, so that way it would hide the cardboard. And then anywhere where I noticed the cardboard was still showing, I added a little bit of hot glue and then pinched the ropes together until you couldn't see the cardboard at all anymore. Then I added some twine with some hot glue to make sure it was on there nice and secure. And then I'm going to come back in with this frosted fern. This was one of my favorite finds at the Dollar Tree this year. I love it, and I wish I could have found more of it. I think I found about 6 bundles or 6 picks, and that was it. And I wish I could find more. But once you added on a little bit of that, I also added on some gold berries to dress it up, and it was ready to be hung up and displayed. Now for this DIY, I'm going to be using this wire that I had on hand, but I ran out of the wire from the Dollar Tree, but just know that they have wire there as well, and you could definitely use the wire from the Dollar Tree. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a nice long piece, and I'm going to use a small paint bottle or my Mod Podge bottle from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to go around it 3 times, and then I'm going to take the end and twist it so that those 3 rings stay together. Once I've done that, and they're all nice and secure, I'm then going to work on the bottom part. And this is all going to stay together with the top and the bottom with one long piece of wire. So then I'm going to come down and I'm going to start to form a triangle. And I'm going to create this triangle 3 times. You could do 4 if you want to make it even stronger, and I think I end up doing 4. I'll see here in a second. But I'm going to basically recreate this again and again and again. And I'm going to just keep looping the wire through so it kind of tangles into it as I'm doing each new layer. You can see here that I came up through the head, and I'm just going to bring that down. And then once I've gotten all the way around, yes, I actually did 4. So I did 4 around the bottom of this cute little angel we're making out of wire. I just wanted you all to see that you don't have to spend a ton of money to make really beautiful DIYs. So once you had the body figured out, we're going to take another piece of wire and we are going to twist it into a figure 8 or an infinity loop. So we're going to go up one side, come through the middle, and then loop around, and we're going to do that 4 times as well. And don't worry about them being perfectly the exact same length. You actually kind of want them to be just a little bit wonky. It looks so cute when the wire's all stretched out and the wing looks like it's flared open. Once you've got your wing all done, you're then going to twist that onto the neck with the remaining wire that you had from it. And then I took some pliers, I don't think I showed it here, but I took some pliers and I just kind of crunched everything down into the middle to really tighten and fasten it. And then once I had everything nice and snug, I decided to come back in with one more piece of wire, really to just clean it up and to make it look so much better. And I went around it several times to really build up the wire right in the middle. Then once I had that where I liked it, I went ahead and I twisted it as tight as I could, twisting, twisting, twisting. And then I'm going to come in with my wire cutters and cut off that piece, and then take the other ones and just press everything down into place again. Then up at the top, I took some twine, looped it through, tied a knot up at the top, added a simple bow, and this is just the sweetest DIY that cost pennies to make. I'm super excited about this next ornament. I know that it might not be everybody's favorite, but I love these because I love the farmhouse look. So again, I'm going to create a big star template with a piece of computer paper, and I'm going to just keep sketching it until I like the way that the points look. But like I said, I just basically did that continuous line star look, and then I'm just going to keep fattening them up to make them look the right way, because even hand drawing these line stars, I stink at that too. So I'm just fattening it up again, and then I'm going to cut it out, and this is going to become the template for my next ornament. And I love these because they're really large in size. As you can see, they're about 8.5 inches wide because I'm using up the whole sheet of paper. Once you've got that all cut out, you're then going to lay it on 3 layers of fabric, and I'm using a white burlap. Just wait, I just think this is so pretty. You can embellish them as much as you want, but I went with a really simple look on mine because I feel like my tree already is going to be so intense with ornaments, and I just love the size that this is going to look on my tree. So go ahead and pin it down onto your 3 pieces of fabric, and once you cut it all out, you're going to be ready to assemble it. And this is going to be why we needed 3 pieces. The first 2 stars are going to glue on top of each other, and then the third one I'm going to show you in a minute what that's for. Now because you're working on fabric, you have a little bit more time to work with hot glue, so go ahead and just go all the way around all of your edges, and then you're going to take that extra second star and you're going to lay it right on top. Once you've got that all glued down into place, you're ready to move on to the next part. Go ahead and add some more hot glue. But this time, where my hand is, I'm not going to be gluing that part because we are going to be stuffing these stars. And they're going to be these cute little squishy stars that are burlap to put on your tree. I just think these are so cute. Now you want to be able to hang it up, so go ahead and add a little twine loop at the top and then put down that star. Now you're going to take some batting and you're just going to simply shove that inside, and then to finish off the look, you're just going to seal the last of that fabric up with hot glue. Again, you can embellish these as much as you'd like, but I really loved the simple look, the simplicity of it, because I just think they're pretty on their own. For this ornament, we are going to need these long sticks that they basically are tongue depressor sticks but blown up in size, and you can get them from Walmart, as well as a wood round flat just like this. So we're going to be using actually 3 of them, actually 4 now that I think of it, 4 of them, and I'll show you where I add in the last 2. But what we're going to do is we're going to first cut off the end and then shrink down the size, and then on one of them I'm going to bring in that side again. Now I guess technically you could always just leave it rounded at the end of the popsicle stick, but I wanted to have a sharper rounded edge. So once I glued on that wood round, I'm now going to take that other long popsicle stick or tongue depressor stick, these mega jumbo ones, and I'm going to sketch out some wings. We are turning these into a really darling Christmas ornament, an angel ornament. So we are then going to just cut off those pieces, And then I'm just taking my scissors and going in and cutting out little triangles to make it look like these are the feathers on the wings. It really does bring more life and personality to it when you cut out these little notches. And then I'm just going to go ahead and glue that on. And then at this point we could stop there, or we could take it a little further, like you all know I love to. And I decided to put a little robe on my angel to bring more personality to it. So I'm just cutting out the sizes that I need to nestle it underneath the shoulder and the neck area of our little angel. I felt like it needed a little something bigger since the head was so big. I didn't want it to have this gigantic head on this angel, so I guess maybe use a smaller wood round and then it would be fine. But I really like how having this robe on the angel at the end turned out. So I'm just playing with it and cutting down anything that I needed to make sure the length was right. You can see here that I'm shortening the tongue depressor sticks, so that way when they're glued on, it looks like a little robe and you can see the gown underneath the robe. I just liked how it turned out. So that's just my personal preference, but I wanted you to see how you could take these sticks and turn them into something so beautiful, so easy. So now I'm just taking some water, a little bit of black paint and some brown paint, and I've created a stain. I really wanted to go with a natural wood look on this because I just thought that was so pretty. And I went ahead and just dried it real quick with my heat gun. I love having this thing. You all know, if you've been watching for a while, I picked this up about a month or two ago and I have not regretted it one bit. Now I wanted the angel's wings to really be standing out, so I added in some white paint here and there and distressed it. And then on the back side I flipped it over and added some twine for a hook, and it was ready to be displayed. For this craft, we're going to be using this clear ornament from the Dollar Tree, and it's really simple. Pop off the top and put whatever color you want inside that will match the color of your Christmas tree. Then you're going to take that paint and you're going to just swirl it around, tap it around. As it gets closer to the end, make sure you put a napkin there so it doesn't spill all over the place, and then make sure you allow it time to dry and keep rotating it so the paint doesn't settle on one side versus the other. This is such a fun and easy project to do. Then to make it look even more high-end and beautiful, I added some hot glue to the very top, and then I'm adding on some glitter with that hot glue, and it just looks so sparkly and pretty. Now I'm going to take my rub-ons from the Dollar Tree, and this is so cool because you can customize them however you would like, and it's really simple. All you're going to do is just cut out the letters you want with these rub-ons. You could also do this with your Cricut if you have a silhouette or anything like that and you want to use vinyl to put them on, but it's a really pretty way to customize these ornaments. You can even put your family's name or what year it is, or your first Christmas together. I just think these are the prettiest ornaments. Then up at the top, I added some ribbon to jazz it up even more, and it was ready to be hung up and displayed. For this DIY, we're going to be using a book that I always am tearing things out from, and one of these plastic ball ornaments. Now these books, I pick them up from the Dollar Tree, so I never feel bad about cutting them up because I'm never planning on reading them. I use them for my crafts because I love the look of text paper, especially for a modern farmhouse look. It just looks so pretty, so pretty. You can even use this text paper with like a retro look. I just think it works for everything, but that's just me speaking. So go ahead and cut them into strips, not too thick. You want them to be thin enough to be able to lay nicely over your ornament. And then you're going to make sure you're cutting off that end part of the page so you don't have that blank paper. You want it to actually have all the text on it because then it'll look more cohesive. Now you're going to take your Mod Podge and you are going to rub that all over the ornament, and then you're going to take those strips of paper and you're going to simply just start gluing them down. Now make sure you get the air bubbles out of them because you want them to lay as flat as you possibly can. For the first few, I let them be nice long strips that came all the way down, and then as I moved on, you don't want it to be clumpy and bulky at the bottom, so make sure you cut them off towards the bottom so it lays nice and flat. Then I went ahead and popped back in the metal top, and I'm going to take some of this buffalo check ribbon. I love this with the text paper, and I'm going to simply just glue it around the rim of it. and curl it up onto the side, gluing it all nice and flat in place. Use a popsicle stick where you need to push everything down, because the metal and the hot glue together really heat up strong and it will burn you pretty bad. Then I'm going to take a bow and I'm just going to put some hot glue and just put that right down into place, and it's ready to display on your Christmas tree. For this ornament, we are going to actually be doing two with this project. We're going to be taking these clear balls from the Dollar Tree. We're going to put some paint inside of them, and I want you to see how many cool things you can do with them. Once you get the color inside, it makes it look like it's a glass ornament, which I love that. Make sure you shake it around, tap it, put a cloth on top of it so any of the paint, when it's shaking around, it doesn't spill everywhere. Then I'm going to take this cute little circle brush that I picked up from Joann's, and I am just going to put little dots all over. You could also use a Q-tip to do that with that if you can't find this brush at Joann's. And then for the other ornament, I'm going to make this one look more Kate Spade with these kind of watercolor stripes on them. You don't have to make them super perfect. That's a very Kate Spade look. I think this is so pretty when you do this like this. And so you're just going to take your time going around the ornament in a bunch of circles, coiling all the way down to the end. When you get the last circle, I decided not to do a dot in the middle of that. I just wanted it to be a circle at the very end. Then once it's all dry, you're going to put the lid on, and then we're going to take those lids and we're going to paint them black, and then give everything a nice coat of Mod Podge, and it's ready to be hung up. You are going to take 5 popsicle sticks, lay them out evenly spaced, and then you're going to take a 6th one and make it at an angle to create a roof line. These will slide a little bit because you're not hot gluing them in place, and then you're just going to create pencil lines so you know where to cut off the excess that you don't need. You're going to have 2 shorter ones, 2 taller ones, and then the popsicle stick that is in the center point, you're not cutting it at all. Once you've got all of those things cut out, you're ready to move on to assembling. And I just used my scissors because I found that it's easiest to cut them this way. Now, popsicle sticks with hot glue, when you put them on the wood, it dries really quickly. So I recommend only doing 1 dot at a time. It'll make your project look much better without having dried, caked on glue, and things will lay flat and even. So I'm doing them 1 at a time. I did the outer walls first, then I did the center point, and then I'm doing the middle sticks. I don't know what to call these, but basically the middles. And then to make it really strong and sturdy, I'm going to reinforce the back with some more hot glue and then another popsicle stick. This is going to lock the walls all into place and make it really high quality versus it just falling apart. Now we're going to work at the roof line. Take a popsicle stick and lay it at the top. Create that little line that you need, and then you're going to lay them on top of each other and you're going to trace it. And I like doing it this way because we're going to miter these edges together, and we want to make sure we have a perfect seamless miter edge. And so you can see when I put them next to each other, they're going to be the same size, and then when you flip it over and mirror the image, it creates a roof line. So I'm going to just add that hot glue really quick and get that roof line on so it doesn't dry, and make sure you leave enough room for both of that roof line at the very tip top to meet together on the middle stick. If you have any excess, make sure you wipe it away if it's cool enough to the touch. Otherwise, you can use a popsicle stick to clean up any excess glue that spills out. Once you've got those in place, you're going to flip it over and then add 2 more of those miter corner roof lines to the other side so that it's really strong and sturdy, and again looks store-bought. Now I want to make it look even stronger and long-lasting and pretty, so I'm going to add some hot glue to the bottom, making sure I fill in any of those little holes. And this is great if you plan on painting it, but make sure you just clean up any excess glue with an extra popsicle stick. Now I decided to paint mine with some brown
paint and watered it down to create more of a stained look versus a pigmented solid paint look. We're going to go ahead and move on to the star. I'm terrible at drawing stars, so I like to do the continuous line star, and then cutting it out is way easier than trying to create your 5 points yourself. I really struggle with that. Then I'm going to add just any color paint I have on hand that's light colored, and I'm going to sprinkle some glitter on it because why not? We want our star to be sparkly for baby Jesus. Once you've got that done, you'll let it dry to the side, and then you're going to take some twine and some hot glue, and you're going to create your little loop to be able to hang up your ornament on your tree. And it's really simple. You're just going to put a little hot glue up at the top peak, and it's going to just sneak right down in there between those popsicle sticks, and then you can add your star to the top.
Whether you're on a budget this Christmas season or you're just looking for some unique homemade Christmas craft ideas, I hope you felt inspired by this video today and these 15 neutral farmhouse ornaments. Please do remember to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and leave a comment down below to let me know which one you think you will try and which one you liked. I'm going to recommend a couple of videos right here at the end that are similar to this one if you enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for stopping by, and until the next episode, bye friends.